am back and I have so much to tell you guys. Honestly, like that's a big reason why I stopped vlogging is because one, I just felt awful. I couldn't do it. And I didn't want to like fake it to you guys. I don't know. So I was like, I'm just going to take a break from vlogging. And then once I release the news, I will get right back into it. Like now I'm like so freaking excited to tell you guys everything because it has just been insane. Insane since September 20th. So let me take you just back all the way, you guys. I'm gonna try not to forget anything, but there's just so much has happened. So bear with me, ready? All right, so first of all, we got engaged in June 9th. And then we started planning our wedding, which is June 28th, 2024, back in my hometown. So that is staying the same. I don't wanna skip ahead, but that's happening, okay? So basically the biggest things going into the fall were just planning the wedding, right? Like that's all I was doing. So then fast forward to August, I never got my girly thing, my period, but that is not weird for me because I have a weird history of it with being a runner and being low body fat and all this stuff. So in my head, I didn't think anything of it. I also had the Paragard IUD in, the copper IUD. No hormones or anything because hormones affect me so much, but I just wanted some protection, whatever. So I had that, okay? That was good for 10 years. I just hit like 5 years with it. So August comes. Don't get a period, don't really think anything of it. Fast forward to September, didn't get one yet either. It's September 20th. It is a Wednesday night, that's the right day. It was a Wednesday night. My best friend Morgan, you guys all know Morgan, she texted me like, what are you having for dinner? Which that's not weird. We like always say that. And I was like, I don't know, dude, because honestly, chicken sounds disgusting. Food aversion. Didn't think anything of it, right? And she goes, Holly, have you gotten your period yet? You should take a pregnancy test. And I'm like thinking she's crazy. Like, Morgan, I don't need to take one of those, but whatever, okay, why not? So I Instacart one. I take it. The brightest 2 pink lines ever. And I was like, that's never happened before. And Joe was like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, that means I'm pregnant. So okay, I thought it was a joke. I had just bought like a little Walgreens one. I thought like maybe like, oh, this is a cheap kind, doesn't work, right? So I tell Morgan and she's like, okay, those are usually not wrong, but get the digital one that like loads and tells you if you're pregnant or not pregnant. So we buy the digital one. It's loading, you guys. Joe and I are just standing there, our heart rates pounding. We are in so much disbelief at this point. Like I thought everything was a joke. And it loads and it comes up pregnant. If I'm being completely honest, you guys, I hit the floor, I am sobbing. I didn't want to even try for kids until I was like 28, 29. At this time I was 25, but turning 26. I was so not ready to be a mom. I was like hysterical. I could not believe it. And then Joe was just like silent. He was sitting on the ground and he just wasn't saying anything. And we, like that whole night, we literally we tried to watch a Netflix show and we were just staring at the wall, just and at each other like, is this happening? How is this even possible? Because not only do I have the IUD, but we are extremely careful in other ways, in every other way you guys can imagine. So at this point, I'm thinking it's impossible I'm pregnant. It's just, so I call Morgan. I'm sobbing because I'm not ready to be a mom. She's crying because she's so excited that we could possibly be pregnant together. So I'm like, no, this is not a good thing. And she's like, no, I know it's not. So that first night, our reaction was just, it wasn't good, to say the least. Just, we were not ready. And so Morgan gets me in the next day to her midwife's like favorite doctor in town. So I go see her because she's an OBGYN, so she's able to take the IUD out. If it's even in there, we're like, is the IUD even in there? Why did it not work? What's going on? So we go in for the ultrasound, and the doctor like warns me, she's like, I don't know what we're gonna see, like just be prepared. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. We do the ultrasound, and literally, you guys, I gotta find the ultrasound for you, because it's literally, the IUD is right here and the baby's right here. They're right next to each other, but luckily the IUD wasn't touching the baby or anything, so it was okay. But we're like, what? The IUD was just like, nah, man, come on in. There's so much room for you. I'm in disbelief right now. So the doctor's like, okay, we can either keep the IUD in there or we can take it out. There's kind of a risk with both. But I'm like, I want it out of there. I just don't want it in there with the baby at all. So it kind of took a while for her to get the IUD out. I'm not gonna lie. I felt so nauseous at this point, and just like, I thought I was gonna throw up. It was awful. Not the best experience, but she finally freaking got it out. And Morgan and I were just like so relieved. I was like, yes, thank you, God. So we went in. That was when I kind of found out. I was probably like 5.5, 6 weeks pregnant at this point. And so then I told Joey, I called my parents. I actually called my parents the Thursday morning sobbing. I was so nervous to tell them. Obviously, they're the most unbelievable people in this world. So they took it so well, and they ended up driving down to Cincy that night. We went out to dinner, and they were just like so supportive and just so nice about it. It made us feel so much better. Cause like, okay, in reality, it's totally fine, right? Joe and I were engaged. We've been together for 7 years now. We wanted kids. Like, it's not like I was like 18 and randomly got pregnant, you know? It was totally fine. It's just, it wasn't our plan. And I'm such a planner. So it was a lot for us to take in. Cause like at the same time, Joe was like, I'm not ready to be a dad either. Like we weren't ready. But then like our families were both so supportive. His family took it so well. They're literally the best people ever. And it was basically just like, we started to accept it, right? We're like, honestly, this is such a miracle that it's such a blessing. And it's like, how can we not be so excited and thankful, you know? Especially because we wanted kids. So I was like, hey, we're just having them a little bit earlier, but like, this is fine. So I will say that we were in shock for a while, but we also were like turning the corner of being excited. Like it's just a lot to process, especially when like one day your life is totally normal and then the next you're like, I'm pregnant. Like it was a lot. But then like I said, the whole other aspect of my grandpa, just that was so emotional too. It was so close with my grandpa. So that was just, it was awful. But I found out I was pregnant a week before he passed. And my grandma got to tell him, and he always called me little girl, and she was like, little girl is pregnant. And he just started like laughing and smiling, and it was just like, it was so cute. So I'm just so happy that they got to tell him before he passed, because then it was the next weekend I went back to Muskegon for his funeral. And then we told a bunch of my family and everything that I was pregnant, given it was so early at this time. So like, it's always a little scary telling people you're pregnant in the first trimester, but I just wanted to tell my family, of course. And now, okay, so what do you think? All right, so then it was like wedding plans, right? Did we want to keep our big wedding? But Joe and I wanted to be married before having a kid together. We just wanted to be married. So we actually were going to do a small Catholic wedding in Covington, Kentucky, November 19th, which is also Morgan's birthday. So my mom and I were literally planning, she was doing the most, she's unbelievable, but we were planning like a small like family wedding, but it was gonna be like 40, 50 people because we both have big families and we didn't wanna exclude anyone. So it was gonna be like 40, 50 people. We were gonna get married at this Catholic church. I found the most incredible priest here who was gonna marry us. And we were planning this in 3 weeks. We're planning a florist, a cake, everything in 3 weeks, okay? So we were gonna do the church ceremony and then celebrate at Jeff Ruby's after with a dinner and everything. So we were planning that. My parents came down for, we went wedding dress shopping 3 weeks before too in Columbus. We went to Grace Loves Lace and they came down, and then we went to church at the, we went to mass at the church the next day. And my mom just had this like overwhelming feeling, like she just felt like this wasn't the right place for me to get married. She thought like back home, like our original plan was just so much better, and I'm her only girl, so she just wanted it to be perfect, you know? So we just all looked at each other, like my dad, me, and her in the car after, and we were like, you know what, this just doesn't feel right. I think you guys just gotta legally get married, and then we're gonna still have the huge Catholic ceremony and reception next June. So we like decided that. Honestly, it was the biggest relief ever, because we were just so stressed out, you guys, between finding out I was pregnant, even though it was the biggest blessing ever. It was just a lot to handle at one time, because we had that, we had my grandpa passing, we were trying to figure out wedding plans, we were trying to figure out our big wedding along with this small wedding. So we were just very stressed out, and it's just not good to be stressed when you're newly pregnant, right? So we ended up just canceling that. Huge relief, keeping our big ceremony in June. I'm due in May, so it's pretty close to after like my wedding to giving birth, but it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be awesome, and we're so excited. And so then we were like, okay, we gotta legally get married. And so like we had to go do our marriage license, and then we ended up getting married just in the same place that we got engaged. And honestly, it was so special. And Katie, who did it, she was incredible. It was honestly like the most intimate experience, and I'm so glad we did it. And like, it's so nice being married now. I don't know. I just been to process so much in such a short amount of time. So I don't know if it's really hitting me yet, but so we did that. Today's Thursday. We got married on Tuesday, and then we also did, Morgan and Logan took pictures of us to announce that we were pregnant. And like the pictures are unbelievable. She did such an incredible job. I'm so happy I just had her do it. But so then it was just like telling the world, and it was just so nerve-wracking, but also excited. Like, I'm so excited that you guys all know now, because it was such a huge secret to keep in. But also, at the same time, like week 6, 7, and 8, I did not feel good at all, you guys. I was so nauseous. I couldn't eat half the food I usually do, which if you know me, I eat the same thing every day. So that was like a huge adjustment for me. I wasn't allowed to work out for like 2 weeks because of the IUD removal. I was just having it just needed to heal in there, and I was just bleeding some. So, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that story. See, there's so much. So I found out I was pregnant that Wednesday, right? But officially that Thursday in September. And then come Sunday or Monday, I was bleeding a little bit. Like, it was concerning to the point where I definitely thought I had a miscarriage. So then we had like the overwhelming feelings of like, we were excited to have a baby, and then I thought I had a miscarriage. Like, it was textbook miscarriage. So then I went in for another ultrasound, kind of expecting maybe her to say I had a miscarriage. And I showed her like a picture I took and my doctor saw it, and she was like, oh, like, okay, that doesn't look that good, but let's do an ultrasound. And we did it, and the baby was still there. So we were like, what is going on? This baby is crazy, so strong. So then she's like, okay, well, you just are bleeding still from getting the IUD out, which that can happen whether you're pregnant or not. And I was having some cramping, which can happen whether you're pregnant or not too. So for a while, it was just confusing of like, am I having a miscarriage, or is it just because the IUD coming out? So then that happened. And so then I was just like scared for a little bit, like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have a miscarriage? Like all that. But then I kept going in for an ultrasound like every single week, you guys, because they had to make sure everything was okay. And so the baby just kept, heartbeat was there, it just stayed strong. So now I'm 13 weeks and I'm feeling so much better. I can actually work out now. I can eat more regularly and eat more of the food that I like thought was disgusting. I can eat now, so I'm so thankful for that. Like, I feel like the symptoms I experienced the most was nausea. That was like, that was like number one. Super tired at night. Sorry, I was just checking for something. Super tired at night. And then, acne, you guys. I was getting such bad breakouts on my jawline from the hormonal changes. So I'm actually about to go get a facial for the first time in my life, and I'm so excited to. But I will say the hormonal acne is getting better for sure. It's clearing up a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see a little bit, but it was like all kind of right there. But truthfully, it's a lot better than it was. So that hit me pretty bad. I'm trying to think of any other symptoms I've had. Stomach ache sometimes. Oh, headaches. I've sometimes some headaches. But all in all, I just have to be thankful for how I feel right now, and I hope it stays, because those couple early weeks were just tough. And I know some people feel that way like their whole pregnancy. So I'm just like, this is crazy. And I know pregnancies can be different for each child too. So it's just a lot. It's a lot. But oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of anything else I'm kind of forgetting. We do know gender. Yes, we do. I recorded it. Like, I took a video of it, and I'm going to post that eventually in a later vlog. We kind of just want to keep gender a secret for a little bit, but I will be excited to tell you guys that too. We already have our name pretty much too, but keeping that a secret too. I just feel like people are kind of judgy about names sometimes, so I'm gonna keep that to ourselves because it's extremely special to us, just with everything that's happened. So it's crazy. I don't know. I was always the one growing up that wasn't the most maternal. No one really thought I was like a mom or anything. So it's just crazy to think like I'm going to be a mom. I'm honestly like now I've had time to process it, and I'm like so excited about it. And I think a lot of that has come from the fact that it's been like such a miracle and just the craziest story. I'm like, good Lord, I must be super fertile or like something, which is a huge blessing. Like literally, that's another reason, because it's like getting pregnant so easily is like such a blessing. So it's like, how could I sit here and be mad or upset about it when so many people struggle with that, you know? But then also obviously like acknowledging my feelings of like one day everything was normal to the next, like expecting a child in 9 months. So definitely a balance, but we wanted kids, and like now we're just gonna have them a little bit younger, which honestly is kind of fun. I'm like so excited to like take this little beeb on with like in like Body by Holly and stuff too. I don't know, I feel like it'll be so fun. But I do want to do a Q&A for like if you guys have any questions at all. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting like any huge detail that's happened, but I feel like I've told you guys everything. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments, or I'm gonna do a Q&A on Instagram, so you guys can ask me anything, because I'm super open about this, and I want like you guys to follow along this journey with me, because it's just like, it's mind-blowing, and it's so exciting. So ask me anything, I'm an open book. But so many people have asked me if this was planned, and I'm gonna be like, no, we actually were the most cautious of like all of our friends that I know, so I'm like, I don't trust birth control anymore. I'm never going back on it. But yes, okay, that is the start of the story, you guys. Ask me anything. I'm beyond excited to share this. It's awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And the support and the love I got yesterday after sharing, you guys, I was so overwhelmed, because I'm just the type of person where I need to respond right away to everyone, because I want everyone to know like I just love them so much. So I was overwhelmed. I'm getting so many messages, and it's like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, it's like I feel so loved, supported, and cared for by everyone. And so I just know this journey is going to be just beautiful. It's going to be perfect. So thank you guys for watching, and let's just continue this journey together. Also, everyone wants to see my bump, and honestly, you guys, I've been posing so hard on Instagram, but like I feel bloated. Like I'm pretty, like I'm trying to see, but like you guys wouldn't know. But like that's how I feel. But like that just looks bloated, you know? It's not like I have a bump, but I will be curious for when I do kind of get a bump. I feel like that'll be fun. Okay, you guys, I could talk forever. So I'm gonna sign off now, but this is just the beginning, and I'm so happy you're here. Bye.